How to Know a Person by David Brooks challenges us to move beyond superficial interactions and truly engage with others on a deeper level. It's a call to set aside our egos, assumptions, and preconceived notions to see people in all their richness and complexity. This process involves understanding their stories, passions, motivations, and the experiences that have shaped them. The ability to genuinely see another person and make them feel seen is not just a skill. It's essential for building meaningful relationships and fostering a sense of community. How to Know a Person summary. In today's world, where terms like relationships, community, and social connection are frequently discussed, we often fail to grasp their full meaning. We acknowledge that loneliness is a growing epidemic and stress the importance of fostering connections. Yet many of us lack the skills to ask the right questions that deepen friendships, to listen without judgment, and to sit with someone in their suffering, even when it makes us uncomfortable. These essential life skills are not taught in school, leaving many of us ill-equipped to build the deep, fulfilling relationships we crave. However, the good news is that these skills can be learned. We can all become better at seeing others, understanding them, and treating them with the care and consideration they deserve. This expanded summary will guide you through the key concepts of the book, helping you cultivate these abilities and apply them in your daily life. Chapter 1. Seeing and Being Seen. One of the most profound gifts you can offer another person is the act of truly seeing them. The Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw once wrote, "The worst sin towards our fellow creatures is not to hate them, but to be indifferent to them." That's the essence of inhumanity. This statement underscores the idea that treating someone as if they don't matter or don't exist is one of the cruelest things you can do. Conversely, recognizing and understanding another person can be life-altering for both parties involved. Seeing someone doesn't just mean acknowledging their presence. It involves understanding their needs, emotions, and the nuances of their personality. It's about recognizing the talents and qualities they may not even see in themselves, and responding to them with warmth and affection. This kind of recognition can be incredibly fulfilling and is crucial in all areas of life, from personal relationships to professional interactions. Why is this skill so important? Many of our most significant life decisions hinge on our ability to see others clearly. Whether it's choosing a life partner, hiring an employee, or even deciding whom to trust, the ability to see beyond superficial traits and understand someone's true character is invaluable. Moreover, in an increasingly multicultural world, the ability to see across differences in race, ethnicity, and ideology is essential for building inclusive, thriving societies. However, these skills are often lacking, leading to misunderstandings and divisions. For instance, many Black individuals feel that white people do not fully grasp the systemic inequalities they face. People from rural communities may feel dismissed or looked down upon by those in coastal cities. These feelings of alienation are symptoms of a broader issue, a lack of true understanding between different groups. To begin mending these frayed social connections, we must start at the individual level. Only when each of us improves our ability to see and understand others can we begin to heal and rebuild the broader social fabric. Chapter 2. Stop diminishing, start illuminating. Have you ever been in a situation where someone dominated a conversation, focusing entirely on themselves? Or have you noticed people more engrossed in their phones than in the company of those around them? These are examples of behavior that diminishes others, making them feel small and unseen. People who diminish others are self-involved, often using those around them as tools to boost their own egos. They rely on stereotypes and superficial judgments, failing to see the richness and individuality of those they interact with. In contrast, illuminators are those rare individuals who have a persistent curiosity about others. They know how to ask the right questions, lifting people up and making them feel respected, seen, and valued. The impact of illuminators can be profound. Consider the example of Bell Labs in the early 20th century. The executives at Bell Labs noticed that some researchers were significantly more productive than others, amassing far more patents. Upon investigation, they discovered that these high achievers frequently shared meals with Harry Nyquist, an electrical engineer. Nyquist was an illuminator. He had a remarkable ability to listen to his colleagues' challenges and ask insightful questions that brought out the best in them. Unfortunately, many of us tend to act more like diminishers than illuminators. We're often too eager to share our own opinions or caught up in our anxieties about how we're perceived to truly listen to others. However, the skill of being an illuminator, of truly seeing and uplifting others, is one that can be learned. One approach to developing this skill is to consciously view each person you encounter as possessing a unique, immortal soul, even if you don't necessarily believe it. By treating everyone as if they have something precious within them, you'll naturally become more warm, respectful, and admiring in your interactions. This perspective encourages you to look at others with extreme tenderness, much like the way Rembrandt painted his subjects. In Rembrandt's portraits, you see all of a person's imperfections, but you also see their full humanity, their depth, their complexity. Through this tender, illuminating gaze, even an unremarkable person can become extraordinary. Chapter 3. Getting to know each other. Most of our lives are spent in ordinary moments, at work meetings, chatting with other parents at school drop-off, or grocery shopping with a partner. These everyday interactions offer us countless opportunities to get to know each other better, not necessarily through deep, face-to-face conversations, but often side-by-side in shared activities. It all starts with small talk. While discussions about the weather or the latest pop culture trends often get a bad rap, they play a crucial role in establishing rapport. These low-pressure conversations help build a sense of comfort and mutual respect, which is essential before diving into deeper topics. The body needs to feel at ease before the mind can open up. When it's time to go deeper, conversation skills become crucial. Having meaningful conversations can be challenging, but it's essential if we want to truly see and understand others. To know someone well, you must ask them how they see the world. You can't assume you already know. The best conversationalists aren't necessarily the ones who tell the funniest stories or offer the most profound insights. Instead, they're the people who can foster a two-way exchange, a mutual exploration of thoughts and ideas. One way to do this is by treating your attention as if it's an on-off switch rather than a dimmer. You're either fully engaged in the conversation or you're not. Think about it. No one wants to be in the middle of sharing something important and notice that the other person isn't really listening. As a listener, you can prevent this by stopping everything else you're doing and fully focusing on the conversation at hand. Becoming a loud listener can also enhance your conversations. For inspiration, look no further than Oprah Winfrey, a master of conversation. When Oprah interviews someone, she visibly reacts to their emotions. Her mouth drops open in surprise. She oohs and ahs, or she nods attentively. This kind of active listening invites the other person to express themselves more fully, creating a deeper connection. Good conversationalists also don't fear pauses in conversation. Many people tend to start formulating their responses while the other person is still speaking, but this can be a problem. Once you shift into response mode, you've stopped truly listening. A skilled conversationalist waits until the other person is completely done speaking, then may take a moment to consider their response. This approach ensures that the conversation remains thoughtful and meaningful. Ultimately, most people want to talk about themselves. They just need someone to truly listen. By becoming that attentive listener, you can begin to change the pattern of superficial interactions and build deeper, more meaningful connections. Chapter 4. Bridging the gap. Even in the best of times, getting to know someone isn't easy. But in today's world, it's even more challenging. Political animosities are high, social isolation is growing, and many people seem to have forgotten how to see and understand each other as human beings. This has real, tangible effects on society. For instance, suicide rates in the United States surged by 33% from 1999 to 2019. Between 1990 and 2020, the percentage of Americans who reported having no close friends quadrupled. Today, 36% of Americans say they feel lonely frequently or almost all the time, including 61% of young adults. In response to this growing isolation, many people turn to politics for a sense of belonging. Partisan groups offer an easy solution. Join us and you can belong by being suitably outraged at those who disagree with us. But this isn't real connection or friendship, It's just collective agitation. To bridge the divides tearing people apart, it's necessary to have the hard conversations that lead to deeper understanding. Before entering into such a conversation, consider the context. For example, as a well-educated professional, you might find it easy to walk into a conference at a nice hotel and feel comfortable being yourself. But it might not be as easy for a trucker from West Virginia. If you find yourself in a similar position, show genuine curiosity about the other person's experiences and make it clear that it's okay for them to be themselves around you. If someone starts talking about a time when they felt excluded, betrayed, or wronged, resist the urge to get defensive or redirect the conversation to yourself. Instead, listen. You might think their pain is exaggerated or performative, and maybe it is. But it's important to stay with their frame of reference and try to understand what their world looks like. If a conversation becomes tense, take a step back to break the momentum. Together, try to understand why things got heated, then clarify your motives for the conversation and reestablish its purpose. You may never fully know what it's like to be another person, to be of a different race, gender, generation, or ability. But by honing your skills and having hard conversations, you can begin to bridge the gap and transform wariness into trust. Chapter 5. Seeing other perspectives. Most people go through life assuming that what they see is objective reality, that everyone perceives the world in the same way. But countless studies show that this is far from true. Perception is shaped by a wide variety of factors, including lifestyle, personality, and culture. Consider research by Dennis Proffitt, a psychologist at the University of Virginia. Proffitt asked different groups of students to estimate the steepness of various hills around the UVA campus. Most participants greatly overestimated the hill's steepness. However, one group, members of UVA's women's varsity soccer team, had much more accurate estimates. As highly fit athletes, the soccer players didn't perceive the hills as being as steep because they didn't struggle to walk up them. Similarly, people who had recently consumed energy drinks or listened to happy music perceived fewer steep hills than those who hadn't. These findings illustrate that people in different life circumstances literally see the world differently. Because of this, it's essential to make an effort to see the world through other people's eyes. When trying to understand another person, one important consideration is how their culture and background have shaped their thinking. For example, David Brooks, the author, is Jewish. Although he doesn't attend synagogue or speak Hebrew, certain characteristics of the Jewish faith manifest in him, such as a reverence for the written word and a feeling of being homeless in the world. Even if you don't feel particularly connected to your cultural heritage, it still influences how you navigate life. Cultural context can have a profound impact on moral and ethical judgments as well. For instance, what do you think about lying under oath to help a friend? In the United States and Canada, 90% of people find it unthinkable. However, in countries like Nepal, Venezuela, and South Korea, most people consider it entirely acceptable. Therefore, when trying to see another person, it's important to consider how their culture, upbringing, and life experiences have influenced their perspective. This approach helps you move beyond stereotypes and lazy judgments, allowing you to see people in their entirety. Chapter 6. Sitting with their suffering. David Brooks's closest friend, Pete, was a man full of life. He had a cheerful disposition, a loving marriage, 2 wonderful sons, and a successful career as an eye surgeon. Out of everyone Brooks knew, Pete seemed like the least likely person to fall into depression. Yet, in April 2022, Pete succumbed to suicide. Witnessing Pete's struggle taught Brooks difficult lessons about supporting someone in pain. He made mistakes along the way, but eventually learned that supporting a depressed person doesn't mean trying to cheer them up. Instead, it means acknowledging the reality of their situation, showing them respect and love regardless, and staying present in their lives. This might involve sending notes or emails to let them know they're on your mind, even if they don't respond. This approach is grounded in empathy. Many people think of empathy as an emotion, but it's actually a skill that can be developed. Empathy is crucial for seeing and knowing others when they're suffering, no matter the severity of their condition. One key empathy skill is mentalizing, figuring out why someone might be experiencing a particular emotion. Mentalizing helps us see others' emotional states in all their complexity, For example, if you encounter someone on their first day at a new job, you might remember your own first day nerves and excitement. This allows you to recognize the blend of emotions they're likely experiencing, from eagerness to anxiety. Another key empathy skill is caring. This involves stepping out of your own experiences and recognizing that what you need in a given moment might be different from what another person needs. For instance, if someone you're with is having an anxiety attack, you might be inclined to offer them a glass of wine, as that's what you might want in such a situation. But they might prefer a different form of comfort, such as holding your hand while they do breathing exercises. Even if this feels awkward to you, practicing empathy means doing what's best for the other person. Empathy is sorely needed in today's world. Too many people are walking around with deep-seated fears and hurts, and they need someone to show them that this isn't the only way to live. By cultivating empathy, we can make the world a more open, caring, and happier place. Conclusion: the journey to truly knowing others. To truly understand another person requires us to move beyond our assumptions, perspectives, and narratives. Each person is a deep well of complexity, shaped by family background, life experiences, cultural context, and countless other factors. It's important to take these into account when interacting with people, maintaining an investigative and curious mindset. Asking thoughtful questions and listening with the intent to understand, not just respond, can open up a world of insights into another person's life. Through these efforts, we can begin to see people in their full humanity, fostering deeper connections and a more empathetic society. By setting aside our egos and focusing on truly seeing others, we can enrich our relationships, build stronger communities, and make the world a more understanding place. David Brooks's How to Know a Person offers valuable insights into this journey, guiding us toward a more connected and compassionate way of living.